but it's an indication that the winds are starting to pick up along and ahead of that main line that we're seeing. So again, here's First Alert Doppler Net. You can see that squall line. Again, it stretches from Person County back towards Durham, Orange counties, into southern Wake at this point. So those of you in Apex, in Holly Springs, those of you around Morrisville, in Cary, you should be moving into your safe places now if you can avoid being out on the roads. I really would encourage that at this point. The squall line still stretching south into Harnett County and Cumberland too. Seeing a bit more lightning now showing up on the strongest part of the squall line now, pushing into Holly Springs at this point. So that's what we're seeing right now along US 1, into Holly Springs, into Fuquay Varina, into the Apex area. So downpours on the way with heavy rainfall for you. Rainfall rates have been around 2+ inches so far. We still have some of the best rotations showing up still off to the south and west. So we want to reset here so you can understand what we're looking at right now and why we're coming with continuous coverage. And that's because we have two tornado warnings right along that main squall line. The first is for parts of southwestern Wake County. It includes Holly Springs. It does include the US 1 areas near US 1 and Holly Springs, all the way, also 540. If you're near Highway 540, you're also looking at some heavy downpours. So Friendship communities, New Hill and Feltonville, along GB Alfred Highway, Piney Grove Wilson Road. Please go ahead and move into your safe places now. If you're in Chapel Hill, rainfall for you, gustier wind, you're getting the brunt of this system as well. And this is going to be tracking off to the east into Durham. We're going to follow the line up to the north and west. And this includes northern Orange County. We also have some stronger storms into Person County too, approaching Roxborough right now. So this is definitely where the strongest, more active part of the line continues to move through. We also have heavy rain and storm potential for Harnett County, along with heavy rainfall leading to flash flooding, which stretches down into Cumberland County and Fayetteville. On your left, you're seeing many images like that. It's on my mechanical, so not sure what's going on here, but I think I'm having some audio issues. Steve, are you good?
I think I am. Yeah, I mean, I lost you in my ear. Okay, so I'll continue on. Time to swap out those batteries, Quaylen. So again, as Quaylen was saying, let's switch over to weather rate really quick. We're waiting for a new scan here. Once this gets a little bit higher, closer to Holly Springs, I think we're going to get some better scans coming in. That's what we're hoping for anyway, to better find it. But the two areas of concern, let's go ahead and show you again. And if you're just tuning in, so this first warning that we're dealing with until 11 o'clock this morning, so just another 10 minutes or so, Chatham and Orange County, and the southern end of that, that's where we're seeing some rotation, and that's quickly moving off to the north-northeast. And then there's this one until 11:15, Chatham, Harnett, Lee, Wake County. This one, again, we're not getting any reports of actually having seeing a funnel cloud or a storm that's on the ground, and not getting reports anyway. And this isn't a typical really strong positive couplet for us, but along the line, we get these little bowing sections like this. That's where we're trying to get that rotation, and likely that's where we're seeing it. So it's still to the south there, Fuquay Varina, and lifting up towards Holly Springs. We should get a new scan any moment, and that'll give us an idea, as it's probably going to be starting to move in or really close to southern Wake County at that time. Did you get it?
Back on, yeah.
All right,
I'm juiced up again.
You're ready to go.
Juiced up again. That squall line, though, is strong. Steve's been mentioning it again, seeing more lightning strikes showing up around southwestern Wake County as that line starts to move in. There's the airport picture right now. Fast moving clouds out there, and heavy rainfall is on the way. So I expect to maybe see some lower visibilities around the airport. This will likely disrupt some flights that were to land and depart out of RDU. Just be patient today. Of course, safety first. We want to make sure we get the squall line out of here, and then hopefully you can get on your way to where you're headed now. Roads are wet across the viewing area. That's how I look downtown Apex right now, what you're seeing on the left-hand side of your screen. Also seeing many power outages out there too. Again, back to First Alert Doppler Net with the tornado warnings that we have. No updates right now, but what we want you to know is that this squall line is moving quite quickly. It's moving at around 35 to 40 miles per hour. So it's lifting off to the north and west. Let's do some more jumps down to cities quickly to show you where some of the highest precip rates are, where the better rain potential is, and where some of the strongest winds are too. So right over Carborough right now, tracking towards Durham, again moving at 45 miles per hour. So I can put a tracker here to show you when this will be moving into Durham County, and that's going to be probably the next 10 to 15 minutes at the most here. So Durham around 11:08, there's the official track. Gorman around 11:16 into Butner. We get into Granville County closer to 11:30, and then to STEM 11:30. Oxford around 11:45. So that's one portion of the line that we're watching. The next is down here in Chatham County. Clear that off, please. Here, come on, give me a break. All right, let's move this down here, and now we want to zoom into eastern Chatham County, and that's where we have some of the definitely gustier winds now along Highway 15. That's in Chatham County, just to the northeast of Pittsboro, right along Highway 64 between Pittsboro and near Apex. Again, moving towards the airport, so the airport's going to really get clocked with some of the heaviest rainfall and gustier winds too. Looks like they've expired one of the warnings for Chatham, Orange County, so that is good. Let's see the bigger picture now. Warnings of the tornado warning for Chatham and Orange County has been expired. That's going to go away. So now what remains is a tornado warning still for parts of northern Chatham. Sorry, these updates are coming in as we speak. All right. So let's get back down here to where the tornado warning that continues is right now. And that's for far eastern Chatham County. That's also for areas east of Gulf. So if you live in Gulf, you're under this tornado warning. It's for those off to the east. If you're in Wake County, Holly Springs area, Apex, you are currently in this tornado warning. If you live in Harnett County, talk to Anger, north of Lillington, you are under the tornado warning. So this includes those of you who live closer to Cokesbury or Duncan. You are under this tornado warning right now. We can get a closer look at the heavy rainfall and also the vegetation that is sometimes apparent in this kind of situation right now. So we want to get a closer look at the here. And there it is. We have some really gusty winds now approaching Holly Springs, just south of US 1. So this is where the strongest winds are. And that's not overly impressive, but I really am drawn to this general line here. This is the squally part of the line, right off to the west. And that's where some of the strongest winds are. So those are likely around 60 miles per hour. Let's see if we can clock those. 25. Yep, that's around 50 to 55 miles per hour here. And these are the winds that are going to be pushing into western Wake County. So again, if you're in Apex, Cary, Holly Springs, anywhere around Morrisville, near the airport, let's go ahead and shelter in place, safe places now. These are going to be tracking to the east. Ultimately, just big impacts around the downtown Raleigh area forthcoming along all of our busier traffic thoroughfares, 540, 40, into the downtown area too. I know we have the festival happening, Bluegrass, and the local tents are set up downtown, but I hope they can hold.
I hope they can too.
While those winds start pushing into the area along with that heavy rainfall. So we're with you right now, coming up on 11 o'clock very soon. We still have one active tornado warning for our viewing area. It includes southwestern Wake County. Eastern Chatham County, east of Sanford, and northern Harnett County. This goes until 11:15 this morning. Here's the big picture. First alert Doppler with that squall line pushing through. So bigger impacts still for Orange County, pushing into Durham County. We have for eastern Chatham, now into southwestern Wake, and still for central and eastern Harnett counties. Seeing the biggest rainfall and the strongest winds pulling away from Fayetteville. We still have yet to go for Sampson County, so you're going to get started here in Sampson County in the next 20 minutes. Those of you to the west of the Triangle in general, your conditions are much better. Your tornado threat is over, but your wind threat is not towards today. And so you still have potential for some power outages right now. I'm waiting for that warning to clear our northern counties. Just hasn't yet, Steve.
Oh, so they're going to allow it to expire. So it was going to expire, what, 11?
Let's see. Stop it. I don't want to go there. Yeah, that was the time. Okay.
Yeah,
so we'll see that in another couple of minutes.
Yeah.
All right.
But you're right. It's a challenge to find a classic couplet that we're used to. But you almost have to say along the entire line, let's treat it as if it is the whole thing is severe.
Yeah.
Because at any point along that, we can get that brief little spin up. So we're still getting what we would consider a little bit. Where you're seeing those reds and greens together, it's elongated, but that entire area there, that is a bit of a concern to us. To see these are areas where we're getting impressive winds. So if we go down and query that, on one side you're looking, that's going towards the radar, and on this side of it, it's moving away from the radar site, which, by the way, is right back there. You can see where that is. So yeah, that's definitely going to be some impressive winds that are kicking there. It's going to knock some trees down easily with saturated ground, and with all this heavy rainfall, once it hits your community, it'll probably last for about a good 30, 45 minutes, maybe more. It's going to be pushing on by because of how narrow it is. It is a narrow little line that's moving across right now, and it's booking it. It has got the foot punched down to the floor. It's going as really impressive speed right now. And as I zoom out and take a look at where Helene is, it's already passed across the mountains that are starting to be seen in parts of Tennessee at this time. And they're getting significant winds out there, incredible flooding going on out in the mountains. So that is really going to be what we're going to hear about for days and days and days. But here locally, it's just that narrow band. Even behind it, the skies are thinning just a little bit, getting a little bit brighter there in parts of South Carolina and near Fayetteville. And as we said before, if you do live in our western counties, it's pretty much clear for now. If we get into snows this afternoon, it's going to be more isolated in nature. So Moore County is good, Lee County is good, and probably parts of Fayetteville. You can probably say, okay, we made it through this. But Stedman's still in it. Wade is well done to Lillington, all the way up to Angier, and it's just now really starting to move in to southern parts of Wake County. Let's see if we got a scan here.
While you're doing that, 11:01 on this Friday morning, we are continuing coverage here as we track Hurricane Helene, or at least what's left of it now. It's a tropical storm, and we actually, Steve, should have now that latest advisory from the Hurricane Center. So I want to look at that and see if they've actually downgraded this system in terms of classification, because it really doesn't matter at this point what it is for us, because it's impacting us right now. At 11 o'clock, we still have Tropical Storm Helene, but it is weaker, down to 45 miles per hour, gusts to 70. That center circulation is right now hanging out between the mountains of North Carolina and Tennessee. So that's what we have right now. We also still have a tornado warning. I'm sorry, I missed that.
Oh, it's still moving at 32 miles
Still
an hour.
moving at 32.
Yeah.
Because the fast forward speed of this system, and on top of the strong winds with the squall line, definitely creating a chance for some severe winds we've been talking about. You are watching the news at 11 o'clock this morning here on ABC 11 as we continue with continued coverage of Tropical Storm Helene. From the governor coming up, or we're not quite ready to go there just yet? Okay, we're going to stay in the warning. Thank you. So we still have this tornado warning.
They don't see my
Chatham
face.
County, Eastern Chatham,
Yeah.
Harney County,
Yeah,
also Lee and Wake counties. I'm going to be more specific. This is southwestern Wake County. So right now, the heaviest rain, the most active the line is now over Raleigh Springs. It's now over Fuquay-Varina. It's pushing towards Cary. We have impacts for the airport right now, and this is what the concern is at this point. Steve, you have a rotation. We'll see the best rotation, or really the strongest winds along this line.
It looks like an elongated stretch of strong winds on weather 8. Let me go ahead and back it up a little bit, and you can see where that green little sliver is next to the red as we continue to push that forward. They're going to change this box. Either they're going to push the warning a little bit farther north, or make it a severe thunderstorm warning, because it's such a long, elongated area. But the two areas that seem to be the brightest at this point in time would be these two areas here. Let me get my pointer. So between, this little bright spot here and just near apex. So both of those probably showing some pretty impressive wind right now on either side. Easily that's enough to cause some damage, potentially some winds upwards of 50 plus, maybe 60 miles an hour. But again, along the line right now that's moving in, you could pretty much say anywhere along this line has decent potential of being severe and causing some damage. The rainfall rates, as I showed you earlier, was upwards between 2 to 3 inches per hour. Sheets of rain coming down right now, ponding on the roads. That's why we do have some flood concerns right now as well. From Andrew all the way down into Fayetteville, you're under a flash flood warning at this time.
A new warning. Again, for Durham and Orange counties, it's essentially the same portion of the line that we are tracking right now. So the Weather Service issuing another tornado warning for Durham and Orange counties for this part of the line, and this one goes until 11:30 this morning. We have movement at roughly 45 miles per hour, so this line no signs of slowing down. So if you are in Durham, you should be heading into your safe places now. This new warning that has just popped up. Even those of you still in far eastern Orange County, I would say let's go ahead and shelter. If you're in Carborough, the strongest part of the line has now pushed off to your east. But if you're in Chapel Hill, let us stick with safe places now. If you're in Durham, let's be prepared for heavy rain and potentially for some rotation or at least damaging winds too. This is bringing the heaviest rain in along Highway 70 and right along our Interstate 85. So the impacts are for downtown Durham proper along 501 too. This is again generally 37 on 40 miles per hour. I do want to closely at the rotation that we could be seeing, or at least where some of the strongest winds are. And it looks like
it's the whole
line. It looks like back towards Chapel Hill, though, Steve, is where I'm seeing some of the strongest winds, maybe a little base couplet here, and that shows winds of 55 miles per hour.
Maybe we should show in a minute the airport cam.
Yeah,
that's that line
pushing into the airport. So again, this is the line in general that is just causing some chaos this morning with its potential for tornadoes, with its potential for damaging winds, with its potential for flash flooding as well down the line. County to Orange. Right now we have the tornado warning for Orange and also it looks like the warning has been canceled for Wake County, Harnett, Lee, Chatham. So we're going to update our information on the screen for you. The tornado warning for Wake, the one that was south, for Wake, Lee, Harnett, and Chatham has been canceled. That being said, gusty winds still within this line, possibly around 45 to 55 plus miles per hour. So you should prepare for that and heavy rainfall. Now we're left with this tornado warning just issued by the Weather Service. This one goes until 11:30 this morning for the northern tier of this line. And this is where we're seeing some of the gustier winds in the signature, where we are seeing winds potentially at 55 plus miles per hour. Heavy rain influence now in Durham. Take a look at some of these heaviest wind bands and some of those rainfall rates moving into Durham County and Orange County too. And when you start to see the white shades showing up here, it really is an indication that these rainfall rates are really heavy right now. So that's over 2 inches, almost 3 inches of rainfall for some locations. We want to go back to the first alert on that again, flash flood warnings to the south, and we can take a look at heavy rainfall being reported right now. Shaky camera there, and likely some impacts with travel and flights this morning. Up on the left-hand portion of your screen there, that's a look at some of the flight disruptions that we're seeing locally. And it looks like there are 52 delays at RDU and 36 cancellations right now out of the airport as well. So if you have travel plans within the coming hours, check with your airline and carrier to see what those plans have to maybe reset your flight or change your plans for today. So that's a look at RDU. Very shaky though, but thankfully a stable base here. I'm meteorologist Quaylen Murphy in with meteorologist Steve Stewart. We're tracking the very strong squall line from Columbia that's moving through our region. Steve, this rain total so far?
This is the last 3 hours alone. And when you're done now in Southern Plains, over by Fayetteville, look at the amounts of rain. This is what we have flood warning in effect for this area because you got so much rain. Again, the graph is kind of separated it off. But that is a lot in a short amount of time. So the rainfall rates, as Quaylen was showing you, that does pan out. I mean, anywhere from 2 to 3 inches per hour because it might only rain in your community for about that 1 hour. But it's coming down in absolute sheets right now.
We got a new warning, Steve.
Okay.
Essentially for the line, again, they've reissued for southern Wake County, now into southern Harnett County, and portions of Johnston now as the line is pushing off east. Remember, we see moving fast. And so the fact that these warnings are being issued right now, you're seeing such a advance of the line. No surprise here. We have a line that's moving at roughly 45 plus miles per hour. Here's the latest information on the new warning issued for parts of southern Chatham County, Harnett County, Johnson, and Wake counties, moving at 35 miles per hour. And basically the strongest part of the line capable of producing some gusty winds over Lillington. Of course, we could see some debris flying around. Trees could come down as well with some of the numbers. So it's going to be near Arena right now, actually. So let's get here, move into your place now. Steve is also looking at where we're seeing some of that, the strongest winds at this point.
Absolutely. Yeah, and near Lillington there, we're getting some pretty impressive wind at this time. So this one is lifting off to the north now, and soon will be in Wake County. Flash flood warning in effect for Wake County. That's Wake Forest, so that's another one that just popped up. We're going to see that populate here pretty soon as well. So the entire line, albeit it's incredibly narrow, it is just a narrow line that's moving across that's causing all these issues for us with just incredibly heavy rainfall rates and really impressive wind and brief little spin-ups as well. So we're going to hear more stories likely about some trees going down. I'm going to check the power outages, Quaylen, and see if they've changed.
While Steve does that, the newest flash flood warnings are showing up now on Weather 3. So we have flash flood warning for Orange County, also for Durham County, and Wake County, newly issued. Also for Eastern Jackson County with the news. And we also have a new flash flood warning for Cumberland County and Harnett counties. These are continuing for the next several hours. The one newly issued for the Triangle goes until 3 o'clock today. Hamilton and for Harnett and Cumberland until 1 o'clock today. Problem is, as Steve showed us, some of the rainfall totals have been around 3+ inches already.
In a short window.
In a short window.
That's the problem.
That was the concern with this line moving through. We would see those downpours happening, and that line is so impressive. If you're west of the line, if you're over in Chatham County and western North County, you are clear from the tornado threat. You're not clear from the wind threats, but you're clear from the tornado threat. Right now, we still have a tornado warning for portions of Wake County and the issues there, the airport, the sites there are deteriorating, the conditions there, and we expect the line to move through. So let's get back to where we have the latest warnings. Still over southern Wake County. This does include Holly Springs. We still have the strongest winds and heaviest rainfall over Fuquay Varina. This does impact those of you around Highway 401. This is south of Garner for the time being. Also into Harnett County, Anger, and Lillington. You're in these areas, you're under the tornado warning as well. It's until 11:30, so another 15 minutes. This line is pushing through at around 45 miles per hour. So again, we're looking at big impacts there. Also looking at winds that could be gusting as high as 50 miles per hour. In Johnston County, you're not officially, if you're in Wilson's Mills, you're not under the tornado warning, but certainly some gustier winds coming your way. We also have another tornado warning, which continues until 11:30. So another 18 minutes of this for Orange County and also Durham County. This includes Durham proper. This includes the Hillsborough area and Chapel Hill. That's where we're seeing the strongest winds right now, the heaviest rainfall moving through Eno. Those of you along Highway 70, those of you along Highway 15 around Durham. We want to get down to street level on some of these areas so we can tell you where some of the strongest winds are, and this includes Horton Road. If you're around Horton Road, Carver Street, in the Huckleberry Spring neighborhood, Cole Mill Road, Umstead Road, anywhere around Bragtown, Weaver, You have heavy rain and gusty winds there, controlling some rotation, so definitely damaging potential. Capitol Road, West Cornwallis Road, some heavy rain for you. Irwin Road, University Drive. So this is definitely around some of our schools here. We know virtual schooling for some of our children in elementary, middle, and high school today. Hopefully your power stays intact so that you can be a student to get your work done for today. We're also tracking, of course, heavy downpours too and rainfall. Today is the day where you do not want to drive flooded roadways. You also want to drive below the speed limit. Hydroplaning is a concern with such hazardous conditions out there on the roads too. Very slick conditions. Definitely a big batch of weather happening right now with the squall line that's tracking through, and Steve has the strongest portion of the line, or at least one area.
That's right. Up in here, Durham, it's about to really pick up. In southern Durham, it is right now, but that's really impressive heavy rainfall. And as far as the wind is concerned, if there is rotation, it's here south. If we go back one point there and go forward again to this next scan, we can see some of the green shifts peeking up against that red. There could be broad circulation there, even if it's against the surface, we're going to have some gusty winds there. So they're going to be very impressive. Enough, again, concentrated to go down. Power outages so far, we're not seeing them in Durham counties, but we are in Chatham counties, into Moore counties, Alamance as well. Already starting to see some more power outages ticking up, potentially into the thousands already.
In the thousands. Weather 3 has a look at RDU, and you can see the conditions and the visibility coming down for us. We're looking at the air those thunderstorms around to no flights taken off or arriving at this point at RDU. I'll be surprised, but again, check in with your carrier. There's a look at some of the latest delays on your screen there. So we still have 52 delays coming up for RDU, and so far 36 cancellations. So checking in with your airline would be the best bet for today. Back to First Alert Doppler Net. We are still tracking this very strong squall line with impacts in the triangle now stretching south, still in the Sand Hills, but part of the Sand Hills. So if you're in Cumberland County, things are starting to wrap up for you. We have a newly issued tornado warning with that part of the squall line now pushing towards Sampson County.
That's right, yeah. So I'll go ahead and zoom in on that. It's near Cleveland town. It's going to be pushing up towards Cleveland. This one, I believe, is moving very fast. It's in Bladen County for now, but eventually get up a little bit closer there to Clinton fairly soon. Now, this looks like a more impressive couplet that we're dealing with, so it's easier to see where you see that purple shade. I'm going to back it up here. It's easier to track where that actual circulation is. And when you look at the reflectivity, that's the tail end here of this line. It looks like it's getting weaker, but that's not necessarily the case. It's usually at the tail end where we can get some really impressive spin-ups, and that's what we're seeing with this one. This is currently in our moving area, but it will be soon. So, again, this one's probably moving, I'm guessing, at 40 or close to it miles an hour.
Yep, 45.
Okay, so that is going to be heading up towards Garland very quickly. It's right up Highway 701, close to between McDaniels, Taylor Bridge, and eventually Clinton, if the rotation can hold together. But that's a more impressive couplet that we've been dealing with, considering the other ones. Let's get up here. They're a little bit harder to find as a couplet like that. But the one that's near some of the things to get a little bit more of a broad circulation in this area. That is making its move right towards Fuquay-Varina. You're going to likely have some issues with some potentially downed trees or broken branches. And then farther to the north, the one near Durham, that one's got some really impressive wind right over Durham right now. And rainfall really starting to pick up. Just sheets of rain coming down. If you don't have to go outside, stay off the roads. You're seeing when we have our camera there on the roads. Hopefully there's not that many cars out there. And then it looks like that's Asheville that we're seeing on the screen, which is an incredible amount of flooding going on there with unprecedented amounts of rainfall. We're talking upwards of around 15 to 16 inches of rain so far in spots, and still raining.
In Greensboro, too, we're seeing reports of how this weather is impacting them. And the Greensboro Police Department responding to 21 weather calls this morning. Trees down, power outages, and traffic collisions. So this is a statewide event, with the exception of areas right now, especially east of 95 towards the coast. That's when things have been quiet, but that's going to change because the squall line ultimately has to lift to the north. What you're looking at on your screen right now rainfall rates. So this basically tells us the intensity of the rainfall per hour falling along the squall line. And no surprise, we're seeing some really impressive totals. At some point, some of the rainfall rates have been between 2.5 to 3 inches per hour into some of the areas where the tornado warning is. For example, into Durham County, we can check out some of the rainfall rates here in Southern over 2.5 inches per hour. Also to the north of I-85. 1.5 inches per hour. As we drop back down towards Wake County, we have some pockets of locally heavy rainfall around the area, the airport, back towards Holly Springs, and with rainfall rates between 1.5 and 3.5 inches per hour. And some spots will pick up that much rainfall in that short period of time. What's saving us, for the most part, is that this line is moving so fast. Down to the south, where we have our next tornado warning, or another warning for Sampson County now, just to the west of Clinton, where we have some of the heaviest rainfall. These winds are almost 2 to 3 inches per hour, approaching Clinton, along with the lightning too. So, you know the deal. When thunder roars, go indoors.
And right now, if you look over to Weather 8, that one you're talking about, so that our algorithm here suggests on a 1 to 10 scale, the tornado impact is quite high, and the wind impact in general as well. So that is an impressive couplet. And if we put on something called correlation coefficient, this just gives you an idea. If things are the same size and uniform, just like raindrops, for example, you're kind of going to get one color. But when you start getting colors like this that we're seeing down here, right where the rotation is, that tells us that we could have debris potentially being pulled up. It could be leaves, it could be some dirt, it could be other things. But when we have such a picture that it is really not impressive, White Lake right now, the likelihood, I'm more confident that there's a tornado down here than in the other areas up north in our viewing area. This will soon be in the viewing area. It's in White Lake now, but Garland, be under the gun. It's going to be moving right up Highway 701 at a fast pace. This one's moving at like 45 miles an hour. So these, again, really fast. We have to wait until we get a new scan in, and a lot of times it has moved significant space. So it's likely going to be somewhere in this vicinity already, near Hickory Grove Crossroads, by the time we get this next scan in here. There's the next scan, and I was close. It's right over Hickory Grove Crossroads. So we're still seeing a decent couplet there. Let me go ahead and see what type of wind potential here. One side is near 90 and the other 5, so over 90 mile an hour wind potential. So that's the one of concern. That one has a pretty impressive signature. And let's see if we can see up here, Southern County, as we just got a new scan. Let me back it up. So it's a little bit more broad. It's just likely going to be strong gusty winds with this one, which, by the way, can do incredible amount of damage. It doesn't have to be a rotating wind.
It's working.
This one, it looks like there's not as much of a couple there's more to it. A strong wind that's pushed right through Durham. We don't have a Durham camera at this point, so it'd be nice to see the wind that's happening there.
Yeah, there's also a warning, Steve, just west of Person County, and I do think that we may see a warning issue potentially for Person County as well. That's the northern part of this squall line that's pushing off to the north and east. So it's going to have to move over Person County. So I would not be surprised to see this warning in some sort, maybe whether it's a tornado warning or maybe a severe thunderstorm warning issued for Person County too. So that's one that we'll be keeping close tabs on as well. So in all, we do have 4 tornado warnings for our viewing area right now, or tornado warnings for our viewing area. The one that we're seeing the best condition is over central Sampson County, the one that Steve was describing in detail. The other looks like more of a wind situation in parts of southern Wake County. If you're in Fuquay Arena, though, you're likely going to see strong winds as well. And down into parts of northern Harnett County, too. That includes Anger. This is right along Highway 401. And then the other area of potential rotation or at least damaging winds is right over downtown Durham. So this is where we're seeing some of the heaviest rainfall right along Highway 501, stretching off towards I-85 as well. Here's first alert for you're seeing mainly, this is the rainfall right now, but of course you couple this with storm. We even have some lightning strikes showing up as well. You're seeing seeing flooded roadways across the area. I'm not sure where that picture is on the left-hand side of the screen, but the issue is these roads are flooded in spots. We do have several flash flood warnings actually for the area. We can visit that as well. Flash flood warning still for Orange and Durham counties and Wake County. That goes until 3 o'clock today. We have flash flood warning for Cumberland and also Harnett counties until 1 o'clock this afternoon. We've seen the totals today. Some spots have been reported, so that's concerning. We have to wait for those warnings to be seen. On the left-hand side now, being wiped off there, it's a photo of Hillsborough right now. So that's where we have flooding. Certainly cars driving through some of those flooded roadways as well. Oh, Steve has some information to report.
Yeah, this is just coming down. This is for Lake Lure in North Carolina. Imminent failure of a dam anticipated. Right now, there's reports of it actually breaching the top of the dam because of all that incredible amount of rain we talked about. And there's not much you can do at this point. I mean, they're going to try and release as much water as they can, but evacuations are underway downstream of Lake Lure. Residents are urged to seek higher ground now as they obey all evacuation orders from Rutherford County Emergency Management to protect life and family. So, yeah,
That is
okay. Yeah, just quickly there.
Lake Lure is west of Hendersonville.
Yeah, that's where they had significant rain. All that's coming down the rivers there.
Yeah, that's not good. All right, let's see what we have here. So the Weather Service, we're in conversation with them, communication. They're going to let the Chapel Hill, Wake County tornado warning go. The Sampson County storm still very worrisome, as we've been talking about, because we've been seeing indications of less rotation. Everyone has been damaged. Concerned with that line right here looks like more of a potentially tornadic situation.
It does. It does feel like this last scan, it got a little better. We're going to get a new scan in here once it's well into southern Sampson County in hopes that it's going to get a little bit weaker, but that's not uncommon. Again, these typically spin up quickly, and then they another one can spin up. But you see where that narrow line is right now, Faith? That is clear. The risk is pretty much over, with the exception of a few isolated cells hours and hours later. But before you see the rain into the east of that, you still have a ways to go, because make it to Goldsboro, Rocky Mount, Roanoke Rapids, and when it does, it's likely going to be just as severe as it is right now. So we have hours to go here, or at least a few hours until it's out of our viewing area, and then we can consider ourselves safe. Which one is going to be allowed to expire?
Yeah, they're going to let the Chapel Hill, Wake County warning go. That being said, what you're seeing on the left-hand side of your screen is significant flooding in Hillsborough right now. Notice the rainfall. If you look at the document on your screen, you can see that the heaviest rainfall has moved east of Hillsborough, but this is what we're left with now. Significant flooding behind those downpours. We still actually have some locally heavy rainfall around Hillsborough, but the strongest part of the storms have pushed off to the east, so still some additional accumulation of rain is possible around the Hillsborough area. That same batch of rain now that caused and is causing that flooding in Hillsborough has now pushed to the east into Durham County, so that's where we're seeing the greatest impacts along Highway 501 in Durham, all the way down into Durham proper and to the south. Likely big impacts along Interstate 42 and then stretching back south towards Highway 70 as well. So this line means business in every way. Wind, heavy rainfall, flooding concerns, and also that tornadic potential. So what we have in terms of the warnings, let's recap what we're looking at this point with tornado warnings in the area.
What's up,
so the
sis?
one
What's
that has
up?
been
What's
issued
up? What's
for
up?
Chapel Hill, Wake County is going to be let go. They're going to get so Wake County, that's the one south. Let's see what they're going to do with that. It looks like they're going to let those two go. See, those are two separate warnings.
So we're left with Sampson
We're
County.
left with Sampson
And I'm
County.
waiting for a new scan.
Yeah.
And in hopes that it gets a little bit weaker. But boy, was it a healthy couple of just about 8 minutes ago.
Working.
Yes,
So
a little unnerving.
It is.
For those of you in Sampson County, let's please move into our safe places now. We're going to go revisit Sampson County since, again, we're concerned about flooding around Wake County, Durham, also into now Person County, Granville. But now we're concerned about the tornado potential in Sampson County. So let's get a little bit more specific on this area here to the south. And is the return or the that rotation is looking best with that big area of reflectivity around the
Right.
line here in Sampson.
That is right.
And that's where we're seeing more lightning too. So I want to zoom a bit here near Garland still. As Steve said, we're still waiting for the latest scan. But if you live in Greensbridge Road nearby Highway 411 Norris Road, you should be in your safe places now. And this has had a tendency of tracking more of an easterly direction. So what I'm going to do now is put a track based off of the reflectivity or what we're seeing right now in terms of rainfall, but I'm going to push it out a little bit more and advance it east.
It's northeast.
It's northeast.
It is northeast.
Okay,
yeah, look
good.
from here.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh,
going.
wow.
Yeah, so it's heading right
Okay,
towards
yeah.
Garland.
All right, there you go. So if you're in Ingold, safe places, Taylor's Bridge. Also head to your safe places and into the Warsaw, that's Duplin County. That will be out of our viewing area, but still many.
It's going to be between Taylor's Bridge and McDaniels. It probably already is. Just to put that in perspective.
Wow.
So it's almost going to be going right along Highway 701. Which would take it towards Clinton.
Looks like we got a new scan in too.
Yeah, new scan. And it's okay. So what was I hoping for?
Taylor's Bridge.
We get weaker and weaker. So you see this, how it was in White Lake, and then it got a little bit weaker there, but still noticeable. Here's the new scan.
Northeast.
So it's broadening, it's elongating. So right now, that makes us a little bit happier because it's still going to be some impressive gusty winds, but a tight, really strong tornadic signature is not what we're seeing anymore. Let me go back to the correlation coefficient. So again, when you see a lot of junk like this, it doesn't make sense to you, and sometimes it blurs our thinking as well. But generally speaking, when we look for an area where that couplet is the strongest, we like to see that correlation coefficient. We don't want to see that correlation coefficient different colors. We wanted to see just one like red sheet, which says everything is the same size. All the raindrops are kind of the same size. But when you have an extraordinary amount of different colors in an area, that tells us, well, there's debris potentially in the air. And so for that one reason alone was why we were really concerned with that. And I don't think this is going to be hail here. I know I heard someone say hail, and I know this really not too warm.
Yeah, wind.
Aloft. Yeah. But definitely this is wind. So now I would say let's go ahead and put a circle on this between McDaniels, Garland, that area right there. There's broad rotation, but also some strong gusty winds. So definitely worth in heavy rainfall. Let me make sure we didn't miss another quick pop-up of any warnings. Boy, that is a lot, Quaylen, of let me get to the flooding graphic just to show everywhere you see red. That is that we're flood warning. We are either imminent or it's flooding.
Yeah.
Creeks and streams, poor drainage areas, roads completely covered with maybe an inch or more of water, in some cases worse than that. So stay off the roads until this line is through, please. But if you live in Chatham County, say Sanford, or it's not raining at all. So the threat is really pushed east of you. That's great news.
Yeah, let's take a moment to reset. 11:51. We're going to go to weather and first for net, and that's where we have the squall line moving halfway through. Now we're almost out of here. In another 4 hours, I think we're totally clear. But as Steve was communicating, those of you who are back to the west now of this line, you are free from severe weather concerns. You still have flooding likely. That's the case right now for Orange County. Also, we're still dealing with some flooding concerns for parts of Chatham, Lee County, back towards Moore. But the weather in terms of tornadic potential has come from you're clear now. If you're in Hope County, you're in clear. You're in Cumberland County, you're in the clear. Now, if you're in Madison County, the greatest threat remains for those around Person County, soon to be for more of central and northern Granville County, and some County. We've been really light rain this week, but that's changing as far as the east. If you're in Durham County, of course, you are looking at the imminent threats of the heavy rainfall and those damaging wind concerns as well, and that stretches all the way from northern Durham to southern Durham County off to the east. We have more impacts now for Wake County, still from Morrisville down to Apex, Fuquay, That's where the strongest storms are. They're going to be continuing to push off to the east, pushing into downtown Raleigh, probably the next 15 minutes with the line moving so quickly. We also have impacts with more heavy rainfall into Wake Forest, Garner, Nightdale areas, and towards Wendell as well. As we stretch out the line to the south into Harnett County, the heaviest rainfall is now east of Lillington. But we have to remember flash flood warnings for Lillington back to Anderson Creek and Johnsonville. So the accumulating has wrapped up, but we still have concerns with flooding. We now have the strongest and heavy downpours moving into western Harnett County. These are moving into Smithfield in the next 10 minutes, also into the Clayton area within the next few minutes. In Bentonville, also looking at heavy rainfall. And right now, Wayne County, pretty quiet for you. Sampson, still concerns here about that potential for some rotation, although a bit weaker. Still, gusty winds, heavy rainfall, and flooding. Spreading the picture back out, if you're near I-95 counties of Halifax, Northampton, things have been pretty quiet for you, Nash, Edgecombe, and into Wilson County. But what I want to do now is draw a tracker, and I'll be line here. And this way we can show you when to expect some of the greatest concerns with either I-95, pushing this out at the 55 mile per hour speed that it's moving. So into Henderson at around 11:55 in the next few minutes, into Pittsburgh probably to noon today, Wilson as well, and into Rockford at 12:10 today. And then we get into counties that are east of us, including those of you who live nearby, maybe the city of Kinston. That's where the bigger impacts
Can you hear
will
me?
be.
Can you hear me?
Taking a look at RDU right now, visibilities are down, thunderstorms around the area has a 1.4 Wayne County that has been to expire. We're still tracking rain and storms though for Wake County. We have one tornado warning in the viewing area still, and that is for Sampson County. It does include Clinton at this point and Garland as we watch this squall line track off to the north and east with the concerns for some of the best rotation and damaging winds now likely over Taylor's Bridge. Remember, we have to account for a squall line that's moving roughly 45 to 50 miles per hour, fast speed, and sometimes it's just as the radar is updating, it really has advanced much farther on to the east. So if you're in Taylor's Bridge, bottom line is here, I want you to go ahead and move into your safe places now. If you're in Clinton, you should be in your safe places too. If you're in the Keener area, you should be in your safe place as well. We want to look at rotation right now, and this will help us out a bit, helping us see where some of the strongest parts of the set earlier warnings that we were looking at, and those have since expired. So again, some of the strongest winds are around Sampson, but this is encouraging that we're not getting as of winds at this point with a velocity. Let's check it out. And those of you around Clinton, still 75 miles per hour. So although there may not be rotation at this point in the line, the winds can cause damage. Remember, we had also heavy rainfall. You couple that with these strong winds, trees can come down, roads can flood, and there could be issues with power outages. So we want to take this portion of the line very seriously, as we are the entire portion of the line. Again, First Alert Doppler Net showing some of the heaviest showers and storms. I want to see if we're missing any updates from the National Weather Service. Right now, we're not seeing any. We have flash flooding southeast of Fayetteville in Cumberland County. Oh, and now we have image out of Fayetteville too, just as I was giving you some information there. Yatkin Road in Fayetteville. This is some flooding definitely on the streets here.